An entrepreneur living in Boston, Massachusetts. I focus on leadership development, community building, and reflection initiatives. And I'm also studying for a PhD, a doctorate in human and organizational development with a focus in leadership. And I'm also a co-founder and serve on the leadership team as a director of educational services for I Believe. Let me introduce you to the brains behind I Believe, Kevin Bicker.
Thanks, John. John calls me the brains behind I Believe because I'm very smart.
It's true.
No, I'm kidding. It's because I study the brain. I study the brain on belief. I'm getting my doctorate in neuroscience at Boston University, and I study how the brain forms beliefs about oneself and the world, and how these beliefs play out to shape your behavior, shape the decisions you make, how you react to stressors, and how you lead. And so today, we're both going to talk about I Believe and your ability as a leader. Let me first tell you about I Believe. I Believe is made up of a team of coaches, educators, and researchers that design and deliver educational programs for leaders like yourselves as well as professionals and teams. Our programs specialize in personal development, which is core to your health, well-being, and success as a leader. And we specialize in programs that use leadership models like Leading on Purpose, which we're going to go through with you today. But as leaders, I want to point out that we understand you want to change the world, so do we. And whether it be the world at large or your small part of the world. But first, making that change starts with yourself. And to change yourself, you need to learn how to change your mind. And to change your mind, you need to learn how to change your beliefs. And we're going to try to help you do that today.
That's right, Kev. So there's actually 3 learning outcomes for this program. The first is to articulate the important role purposeful pausing can play in peak performance and goal achievement. 2, to understand what reflection is and how we can use that to enhance our abilities to succeed. And 3, to identify tools and techniques necessary to succeed at purposeful pausing. With that, let me share with you some ground rules for this program. We want to invite you to fully participate in the experiential activities, the dialogue, and the opportunities for reflection. By doing so, that will ensure that we not only have an enjoyable, but a learning-filled experience. And this is the roadmap for today. The plan is to show you how purposeful pausing fits into our leadership model, Leading on Purpose, that Kevin just referenced. Purposeful pausing is the first step of 3. We also need to intentionally act and mindfully react. For us to be effective leaders, we need to be engaged in all 3. But for today, we're going to be focusing on the 3 C's of purposeful pausing, and we're going to be doing it in the Indaba method. The Indaba method is a Zulu method for reflective dialogue, which literally means meeting of the minds. So before we continue, I want to make sure that everybody has at least 3 pieces of paper and a writing utensil. If you need to pause the program to get that, not a problem. So let me bring it back to Kev to provide an overview of the 3 C's.
Thanks, John. So let's get started. The 3 C's of purposeful pausing are simply clarity, connection, and compassion. And for the rest of the workshop, we're going to go through all 3 of these C's. I'm going to teach you each C. We're going to go through a small meditation or purposeful pausing experience. And then John's going to help you experience that in leadership. Think about it more reflectively and go through the Indabas he talked about. So to start off, let's talk about clarity. Clarity is your ability to gain awareness over your thoughts, emotions, the beliefs that drive you to do what you do every day. Clarity is a moment to pause and meditate. Let's all do that right now. Let's just take the opportunity to relax. It might be the morning, it might be the afternoon or evening, and just let your hands drop by your side. Close your eyes if you want, and take a few breaths. While you're doing this, I want you to notice 3 thoughts that run through your mind. Just watch 3 thoughts that run through your mind. And then, when you got them, open your eyes and share with a partner. Okay, I want you to do that now. You can pause the video and then come back and play when you're done sharing. Go ahead and do that now. Welcome back. So now I bet you had different types of thoughts about the past, about the future, what you're going to eat later, what you're going to do tonight, about what you did yesterday, and maybe how you feel right now. Maybe you're thinking about being bored or what's next, and when can I get that energetic John back on screen? Well, the funny thing about it is you have all kinds of thoughts. Some of them are negative, some of them are positive, some of them don't mean too much. And the real thing that we need to recognize in this point of clarity is that we have 2 things going on at once. One, we were thinking. And two, we were watching those thoughts. That's really important, because if you can watch your thoughts as you think them, then your opportunity to change them when needed is right there, right in front of you. And I want to show you this quote, which exemplifies clarity for leadership. It's a quote by Jim Lear, who is the founder of the Human Performance Institute in Florida. And it says, "To accomplish all we want in ways that fulfill us deeply, we must better learn how to slow down, how to stop, how to disengage. If we really want our life to turn on, we must first learn how to turn it off." And that's what we did. That's that purposeful pause that we just went through to gain clarity. And John's going to literally take you through an experience now, an exercise where you can gain clarity and awareness on your leadership potential. John?
Thanks, Kev. So we're about to take part in a visual reflection exercise called Ideal Me, Real Me. Before we begin, what I'd like you to do is to please draw on a piece of paper that's split in half, top and bottom. And on each half, you're going to draw a stick figure. So front and back. And on the top half of both sides, you're going to write ideal. And on the bottom half, you're going to write real. What characteristics describe you as a leader ideally? That's what we're going to be thinking about right now. Think through that question. What characteristics describe you as a leader ideally? And draw 4 to 5 characteristics that do that describe you as a leader ideally in the dream world. It could be a heart to show care or support. It could be ears exemplifying listening. Once you're done drawing, you're going to find a small group of friends and you'll engage in an indaba, an opportunity for reflective conversation of sharing. You'll describe why you drew that picture and what it means to you. While you're doing that, you can pause the program, and when you're ready to return, just hit play. So I hope the indaba was fruitful and that you've had a plethora of characteristics on being an ideal leader from yourself and from all the friends that you shared with. So this is how you ideally are. But really, how are you as a leader? Now, please take a moment to draw 4 to 5 characteristics that describe you as a leader really. After you draw those characteristics, you want to engage in conversation, another indaba, with your friends, and then turn the program back on once that's done. I'm willing to bet that the ideal me and the real me didn't quite look exactly alike. And that makes sense, that's great. Rarely do our actions and intentions match up, and that's an issue most leaders struggle with. And that is what reality checks are for. Noticing the disconnect between the two is literally a reality check. It's an opportunity to become clear about the difference. And that clarity enables us to narrow the gap between the real and the ideal. So take a moment right now to dig deep and reflect on what you can do to get from the real closer to the ideal. And of course, we're going to want you to indaba. So engage in that indaba conversation, and then when you're done, you can turn the program back on. Welcome back. Before moving on to the second C, I've got some more questions for you to ponder, and then of course, indaba. Where can you purposefully pause on campus? How can you schedule time to purposely pause and gain clarity? And then what can you do to turn it off in order to turn it on, like Jim Lear says? So indaba, and then you can turn the program back on when you're done. All right, this is exciting. I hope you're enjoying these indabas. Let me toss it over to Kev to talk about the second C.
Thanks, John. So the second C is connection. In the first C, we gained awareness over our thoughts, our emotions, our beliefs. And the second C is, what do we do with them? How do we connect with these? Oftentimes we connect with our thoughts and emotions, and it drives us up the wall sometimes, or it makes us feel really good. But we need to know how to connect.